Did you know that John D. Rockefeller started his empire by making a decision that most people would call insane? Picture this: a 16-year-old kid working 16-hour days for pennies, literally counting every cent that came through his hands. But here's the twist that changed everything. While everyone else was spending their wages on immediate pleasures, Rockefeller was doing something different. He was obsessively tracking every single transaction, studying patterns, and reinvesting every spare dollar back into opportunities others couldn't even see. The secret wasn't luck or connections. It was an almost disturbing level of discipline that bordered on obsession. While his friends were out having fun, he was analyzing ledgers by candlelight. While others complained about their jobs, he was learning the intricate details of every business deal that crossed his desk. This wasn't just hard work. This was strategic sacrifice that most people aren't willing to make. But here's what's truly fascinating about Rockefeller's approach. He discovered something about money that the wealthy keep hidden from the masses. Something so powerful that it allowed him to multiply his income not just by 2x or 3x, but by astronomical amounts. And the most intriguing part? You can apply this same principle starting today, regardless of your current situation. What was this secret that transformed a clerk into the richest man in history? Keep watching, because what I'm about to reveal will challenge everything you think you know about building wealth. Listen, I'm not going to lie to you like those other get-rich-quick gurus. I'm not going to promise you'll become a millionaire by tomorrow morning, or that some magical formula will solve all your problems without effort. That's complete nonsense, and deep down, you know it. But here's what I will promise you, and this is based on real strategies that actually work. You can realistically increase your income significantly within 3 months, if you're willing to apply what I'm about to teach you. Not through gambling, not through schemes, but through proven methods that the wealthy have been using for generations. The problem isn't that making money is impossible. The problem is that most people are following completely backwards advice. They're focusing on cutting expenses instead of multiplying income. They're looking for perfect opportunities instead of creating them. They're waiting for the right time, instead of starting with what they have right now. What you're about to discover are 5 strategic decisions that Rockefeller used to transform his financial reality. Decisions that seem almost ruthless in their simplicity. These aren't feel-good tips you'll forget tomorrow. These are practical daily actions that compound over time into serious results. Here's a preview of what's coming. I'll reveal the counterintuitive strategy Rockefeller used that actually made him more money during economic downturns than during good times. Sounds impossible? Most people think so, until they understand the psychology behind it. But first, let me ask you something. Are you ready to discover why your current approach to making money might be sabotaging your success? Because what I'm about to show you will make you question everything. Strategy number 1, the information advantage. Did you know that Rockefeller's first major breakthrough wasn't about having money? It was about having information that others didn't. Here's what nobody tells you. While everyone else was guessing, Rockefeller was systematically gathering intelligence about every aspect of his industry. But here's where most people get this completely wrong. They think information means reading the news or following trends. That's surface-level stuff that everyone has access to. Rockefeller went deeper. He built relationships with suppliers, customers, competitors, and even their employees. He knew their costs, their margins, their weaknesses before they did. The strategy you can apply immediately. Choose one industry or niche you're already familiar with, and become obsessively knowledgeable about it. Not just the basics everyone knows, but the insider details that only practitioners understand. Start having conversations with people in that field. Ask questions about their biggest challenges, their profit margins, their upcoming plans. This isn't about being nosy. It's about positioning yourself to spot opportunities others miss. When you know more about their business than they do, you become invaluable, and valuable people get paid accordingly. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people won't face. This requires actually talking to people, building real relationships, and asking sometimes awkward questions. Are you willing to do what feels uncomfortable to gain a real advantage? The next strategy builds on this foundation, but it involves a decision that will separate you from 95% of people trying to increase their income. Curious about what that decision is? Keep watching, because this next part gets really interesting. Think about this while you continue watching. What industry do you already know better than most people? Strategy number 2, the ownership mindset. Here's what blew my mind when I studied Rockefeller's early career. He never thought like an employee, even when he was one. While other clerks were just doing their jobs, he was mentally running the entire business. And this shift in thinking is what separated him from everyone else earning the same paycheck. Did you know that this single mindset change can increase your value by 300% almost overnight? But here's the trap most people fall into. They think ownership mindset means working harder for the same pay. That's completely backwards and will only make you burned out and resentful. Real ownership thinking means identifying problems in your workplace, industry, or community that you can solve for profit. Rockefeller didn't just process transactions. He noticed inefficiencies in how businesses operated and positioned himself as the solution. Here's your daily strategy. Start viewing every problem you encounter as a potential income opportunity. Your boss is struggling with scheduling? That's a consulting opportunity. Your industry has a recurring inefficiency? That's a business idea. Your skills are being underutilized? That's freelance income waiting to happen. But the key insight that most miss is this. You don't need permission to start thinking like an owner. You can begin solving problems and getting paid for solutions while still keeping your day job. The goal isn't to quit immediately. It's to build additional income streams by providing value others can't or won't provide. However, there's a dangerous mistake that kills most people's progress before they even start. It's so common that I bet you're already thinking about making it right now. How do you avoid this trap that destroys potential before it becomes profit? I'll reveal that next. Think about this. What's one recurring problem you've noticed that nobody seems to be solving effectively? Strategy number 3. The compound investment secret. What nobody tells you is that Rockefeller's real genius wasn't making money. It was in how he reinvested it. While others spent their profits on lifestyle upgrades, he had an almost obsessive rule. Every dollar earned had to make more dollars before it could be spent on anything else. But here's where people completely misunderstand this concept. They think it means living like a monk and never enjoying life. That's not sustainable and will make you miserable. Rockefeller's secret was much more strategic. He separated money into different categories with specific purposes. The strategy that will change your financial trajectory. Implement the 50-30-20 rule with a twist. 50% for living expenses, 30% for reinvestment and skill development, 20% for personal enjoyment and lifestyle. But here's the crucial part. That 30% reinvestment portion is completely untouchable for consumption. Your reinvestment money goes toward acquiring new skills that increase your earning potential, tools and resources that make you more efficient, or small investments that generate additional income streams. This could be online courses, professional certifications, business equipment, or even funding small side projects. The psychological breakthrough happens when you realize that every dollar you reinvest multiplies your future earning capacity. It's not just savings, it's compound income acceleration. A $500 course that increases your skills might generate $5,000 in additional income over the next year. But there's a critical timing element that most people get wrong, and it costs them years of progress. When exactly should you make these reinvestments? And how do you know if you're choosing the right ones? This timing mistake has destroyed more potential wealth than any market crash. Think about this. If you had an extra $1,000 right now, what skill or tool would multiply your earning potential the most? Strategy number 4, the relationship leverage system. Did you know that Rockefeller never built his empire alone? But here's what's fascinating. He didn't just network randomly like most people do. He had a systematic approach to building relationships that directly translated into income opportunities. Most networking is completely backwards. People go to events, collect business cards, and hope something happens. That's amateur hour compared to what actually works. Rockefeller's approach was much more strategic. He identified people who had what he needed, then positioned himself as someone who could solve their problems first. Here's the relationship strategy that will multiply your opportunities. Instead of asking, "What can this person do for me?" logically start with, "What problem does this person have that I can help solve?" This shift in thinking transforms you from a taker into a valuable resource people want to work with. The daily application: choose 3 people in your industry or desired field every week. Research their businesses, understand their challenges, then reach out not to ask for something, but to offer genuine value. This could be sharing relevant information, making introductions, or providing a service they need. But the secret sauce that most people miss is consistency and follow-through. It's not about making a good first impression. It's about becoming someone others can depend on reliably over time. Rockefeller understood that trust is the currency of high-value relationships. However, there's a relationship mistake that not only wastes your time but actually damages your reputation in ways you might not realize. It's so subtle that even smart people fall into this trap repeatedly. How can you avoid becoming that person everyone wants to avoid? The next strategy reveals this and more. Think about this. Who in your field has a problem you could help solve without expecting anything in return? Strategy number 5, the monopoly principle. Here's the most controversial strategy, but also the most powerful. Rockefeller didn't just compete in markets. He systematically dominated them. Now, before you think this is about crushing competitors, let me explain what this really means for someone starting out. The modern application isn't about becoming a monopoly in the traditional sense. It's about becoming irreplaceable in your specific niche. Did you know that being the only person who can solve a specific problem is infinitely more valuable than being one of many who can solve general problems? What nobody tells you is that most people make themselves replaceable by trying to appeal to everyone. Rockefeller did the opposite. He became absolutely essential to specific people for specific needs. This is how you command premium prices and create consistent demand for your services. Your monopoly strategy. Identify a combination of skills, knowledge, or services that very few people can provide together. Maybe you understand both technology and marketing. Maybe you speak multiple languages and understand finance. Maybe you have industry experience plus creative skills. These combinations create unique value propositions. The daily practice. Instead of trying to compete on price or generic services, focus on becoming the go-to person for solving very specific problems. Develop expertise in the intersection of different fields rather than trying to master just one area like everyone else. But here's the warning nobody gives you. This approach requires saying no to opportunities that seem good, but dilute your focus. Most people can't resist the temptation to chase every opportunity, which prevents them from becoming truly exceptional at anything. The question that will determine your success is this: are you willing to specialize deeply enough to become irreplaceable, even if it means turning down other opportunities? Because what comes next will test exactly how serious you are about changing your financial situation. Think about this. What unique combination of skills or knowledge do you have that few others possess? If today your bank account is at zero or even less, this section is specifically for you. I want you to know something important. Your current financial situation doesn't determine your potential for change. What determines your success is your willingness to start with what you have right now, no matter how small that might be. Here's the truth that no one wants to admit. Starting from zero actually gives you certain advantages. You have nothing to lose, which means you can take risks that people with more resources won't take. You're motivated by necessity, which often drives more creative solutions than comfort ever could. You're already one step ahead because you decided to watch this video to this point. That decision shows you're actively seeking solutions instead of just complaining about problems. That mindset alone puts you ahead of 80% of people who are stuck in the same situation. Here's your immediate action plan. Start with your existing skills and connections. You don't need capital. You need clarity about what value you can provide right now. Can you help businesses with social media? Can you organize spaces or events? Can you teach something you know well? Can you solve problems you've solved before? The key is starting so small that failure doesn't hurt, but success creates momentum. Offer your first service for $50 to $100. Do excellent work. Ask for referrals. Raise your prices with each new client as you gain experience and confidence. Within 30 days, you should have earned your first $500 in additional income. Within 60 days, you should have a small but steady stream of clients or customers. By day 90, you should be earning enough extra income to reinvest in growing further. I want to hear from you. What's one skill you have right now that someone would pay for? Comment below, and let's start a conversation about your specific situation. Sometimes the outside perspective can help you see opportunities you've been overlooking. Remember, every expert was once a beginner, and every successful person started with their first dollar earned. So here we are at the end, and I want to leave you with something that might make you uncomfortable. Success isn't just about learning strategies or having good intentions. It's about facing a truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. The strategies I've shared with you today aren't secrets because they're hidden. They're secrets because most people won't do what's required to implement them. They won't have uncomfortable conversations. They won't sacrifice immediate gratification for long-term gain. They won't persist when results don't come quickly. Are you willing to pay the price for success? Because there is always a price. Rockefeller paid it through years of 16-hour days and social isolation while building his empire. The price might be different for you, but it exists nonetheless. The question isn't whether you'll pay a price. You're already paying the price of your current situation. The question is whether you'll choose which price to pay. Here's what I've learned studying the wealthy. Success is incredibly simple in concept, but brutally difficult in execution. It requires doing ordinary things extraordinarily consistently over time. It requires making decisions that your current self might resist, but your future self will thank you for. Most people want the rewards of success without the responsibility of success. They want the income without the investment, the results without the requirements, the destination without the journey. But you're still here, which tells me something important about you. You're not like most people, or you wouldn't have made it to the end of this video. Leave me a comment if you've made it to the end. I want to know who's ready to change their story. Tell me which strategy resonated most with you, or share what action you're going to take first. Because the difference between learning and succeeding is implementation, and I want to support those who are ready to begin.